respectable uh, professor, Professor Madan Mohan Goyal ji. Let me take this privilege of introducing him to all of you. Professor Goyal is the former Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellor and a nedonomist professor. Just a second, sir. He's a researcher, guide, orator, and a prolific writer, and is having the experience in the educational governance in the universities under the state, center, and the private sector. He possesses 40 years of teaching experience, including 16 years as a professor of economics at Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He had administrative experience of 16 years in various capacities as Vice Chancellor, JNU Jaipur, Director of Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, an institution of national importance under the Ministry of Sports and Youth Welfare, appointed by the President of India, and Pro Vice Chancellor, Veer Kunwar Singh University, Ara, a state university of Bihar, the Dean of Colleges and Social Sciences, Chairman, Department of Economics and Department of Journalism at Kurukshetra University. Professor Goyal has international recognition. He has been the first ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relations, chair professor in South Korea at Hakong University of Foreign Studies, Seoul. He has bestowed upon the honor of Ambassador of Peace recognition by the Universal Peace Federation, adjunct professor at School of Indic Studies, Institute of Advanced Sciences, USA. Professor Goyal has been conferred Rotary Foundation Award for International Understanding in 1983, which provided him the opportunity to represent India in USA, UK, and Canada. He has also been in South Korea, Sri Lanka, Australia, Norway, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Nepal for various academic exchange programs. At the National Front, Professor Goyal has been honored in 2018 with Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Education Excellence Award by Indian Institute of Oriental Heritage, Kolkata, NAC Bangalore, and has utilized his services of Professor Goyal as chairperson, member coordinator, peer team many a times. He represented University Grants Commission as its nominee in Advisory Committee DSA, SAP, Department of Economics, Osmania University, Hyderabad. During the period of 2009 to 2014, he is the member of the Board of Governor, Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan, and National Service Scheme, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. One of the distinct honors a professor involved in research can have the publication of the book Pradeep S. Chauhan and published by VK Global Publications on his retirement. This was what we can say is the compiled his research into his of research and economics of human resource. He has more than 446 publications, including monograph and many on daily basis, almost on daily basis, in the newspapers with the Tribune, Times of India, and a very popular. He has successfully guided 22 PhD and 25 MPhil scholars. He has completed 2 research projects and has established his credentials in economic journalism and development communication. Professor Goyal has served as Kshetra Research Journal of Arts and Humanities and Journal of Haryana Studies, in addition to the Chief Editor of Kautilya. intellectual property right policy of Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, as nodal officer of IPR cell, and he enjoys the status of spiritual citizen as intellectual on speaking tree, where you can find him on www.speakingtree.in, and where he has published 171 blogs. He is recipient of 2 gold medals for standing first class in MPhil Economics and postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication. So this was a short and brief profile, as he has, as we have already understood that he is a very spiritual person who has devised even one term, that is, he has coined it as needonomics, that economics according to the needs, which he has related every aspect to the spirituality of the humankind. And every day you will find him writing, publishing, and busy with all these things. He is the one person whom I have found that he is not only the person who believes in Gita but lives in Gita. बहुत सर हमारे लिए सम्मान की बात है कि आज आप हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं. हम आपका तहे दिल से धन्यवाद व्यक्त करते हैं, आपका अभिनंदन करते हैं, आपका स्वागत करते हैं.
Thank you, Dr. Shefali, for speaking kind words about me. I am grateful to you for giving this wonderful opportunity on a very auspicious day, 2121. Although it was scheduled yesterday, and I wanted to greet the fraternity of teachers with New Year message. If you put it in Google search engine, welcome 2021 with vision of Atam Nirbharta consciousness, you will find 4 publications. One is from London, one is from Speaking Tree, another one is Gears Time, Smart Weekly. So you can understand that how we have to prepare ourselves for 2021. My take is that 2020 was negative word for test positive, but we must have positive attitude for 2021, considering that we have to consider ourselves as a soul, Atma, and Atam Nirbharta is dependent on soul, which is the message flowing from Gita. And we should become fearless, because death rate of soul is 0. That soul is immortal. And as a physical body, death rate is 100%. Everybody is to die. Shefali ji, allow me to share the screen. It's not working. Sharing the screen is not allowed. Kindly allow me to share the screen, please.
स्क्रीन शेयर.
Yeah.
जी सर, इसमें आप स्क्रीन शेयर कर रहे हैं तो क्या कह रहा है?
It's PPT तो आना चाहिए ना.
Shikha, are you there?
आगे done. Yeah.
सर.
अभी let me see if it's visible to you.
हाँ जी मैम.
आ गया?
हाँ जी मैम.
आ गया नहीं?
हाँ जी सर, अपनी प्रेजेंट नाउ पे क्लिक कीजिए सर.
Slide show? Is it visible now?
नो सर.
नहीं सर, अभी विजिबल नहीं हुआ स्क्रीन.
कहाँ से है इसका ये प्रेजेंटेशन?
Good morning, sir.
I am able to put it.
Sir, you just go to the share screen option.
Yes.
And
it's already there.
It's already there. Yeah, you
yeah,
just.
But it's not blue. It's.
Sir, window select कर लीजिए जो share करना हो. Entire window लिखा होगा sir. उस entire window select कर लीजिए window.
Window, okay. Your entire screen, yeah. It's there. Yeah, it's visible now. It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So
It's visible.
after the New Year greetings 2021, let me come to the topic of discussion this morning: relevance of neonomics for Atmanirbharta in rural India. Let me share with you that basically presently farmers are agitating, and it is our duty to understand what is needed in rural India for Atmanirbharta and how we can fit into the scheme, the conceptualization of neonomics, which I have developed as a researcher. To my mind, Atmanirbharta has three connotations. One is coming from Bhagavad Gita, dependence on soul. But so far, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is concerned, when Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji addressed the nation in May 2020, he was talking of Atmanirbharta, which can be understood in economics with two conceptualizations. One is self-sufficiency and another one is self-reliance. Self-sufficiency is an objective which we pursued in the Indian economy up to fourth five-year plan, which means we have to have import substitution reduces to zero and become self-sufficient economy without foreign trade, meaning thereby self-sufficiency is an objective which is pursued in a closed economy where there is no international trade. Self-reliance is the objective which is pursued in an open economy, and we achieve self-reliance when balance of payments are favorable. So we have to understand the conceptualization of Atmanirbharta in all aspects of life with REACH model, which I would explain to you today, REACH model, with relevance of needs and its economics, which is as old as civilization. You might have heard the adage, necessity is the mother of invention, rightly explained the importance of needs. You know, when we started civilization, we were having no vegetarian food. We were all non-vegetarians, eating animals. But it is with the civilization that we gone in for vegetation, and now we are enjoying various kind of foods. Let me honestly tell you, the conceptualization of neuronomics is not new, although I am given the credit for coining this term, but literature on economic thought justifies neuronomics for Atmanirbharta. You might have heard the name of Maharaja Agrasen, very near in Haryana, Agroha, where he was ruling, and he was promoting Atmanirbharta among people of his kingdom when he was asking everybody to contribute 1 rupee and 1 brick so that one can survive, exist, and excel. Not only that, Maharaja Agrasen was in favor of spending 25% income on others, which can be taken up for corporate social responsibility today. This conceptualization of neuronomics, economics of needs, is basically based on shloka number 22 of chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, which says, Anyanya chintanto mayojana prayupaste tesham nityabhiktanam yogam kshemam bhamyam. Meaning thereby, Lord Krishna says, if you believe me completely, absolutely, and wholeheartedly, whatever you need, that I'll give you, whatever you have, that I'll take care of. And I have pleasure in sharing with you the logo of Life Insurance Corporation of India, written something down the hands. Yogam Kshemam Vahamyam. Your welfare is our responsibility, from where I have developed the concept of neuronomics. It is the gentleman promise of Lord Krishna and Kurukshetra that whatever needs you have, it is my responsibility to fulfill that. And to my mind, it is basically common sense approach. Neuronomics is common sense approach, which is ethical, non-violent, spiritual, and environmental friendly in nature, and says no to greed. Let me honestly tell you, most of the problems faced by the society today at all levels, starting from the international level to local level, terrorism, corruption, discrimination, discontent, these are all due to greed. Economics of greed, I call greedonomics. Therefore, as a student of economics, it is our duty to understand the difference between greedonomics and needonomics. Up till now, since 1776, an inquiry into the nature and causes of the wealth of nation by Adam Smith, the Western economists have been talking of greedonomics only. We have to understand benefits and wide scope of neuronomics with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges for economy with globalization for Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam and spiritually guided materialism strategy. Here, I wish to draw your attention that Honorable Prime Minister uttered the word be vocal for local that has not been accepted many around the world. Whereas we need to be diplomatic in using the terminology when we are promoting Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam more than ritual, we should talk of diplomatic language of localization, not be vocal or local for solving the problems of Indian economy if we are really interested to achieve Atam Nirbharta as self-reliance. This calls for spiritually guided materialism strategy, which is practically flowing from Bhagavad Gita, sloka number 22 of chapter 9, which I have already talked to you. My dear friends, when we talk of neuronomics or Atam Nirbharta, we have to do what not, why not, when not, where not, for whom. In his speech, Honorable Prime Minister has conceptualized 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. He says that there should be incremental changes in economy. Economy is very important in Atmanirbharta. Infrastructure, which should be world class, competitive at an international level. Technology driven system, demography, which should be vibrant. As you know, the world over, demographic dividend of India is an issue which has been talked about. And demand. You know very well that presently, when the economy is suffering from recession, it is because of not only the supply chain management has been broken, but it is because of crisis of demand. The purchasing power of people has reduced. Many have gone out of job. Many salaries have reduced. But even in these circumstances, when we are entering into 2021, we have to understand WWW as work without worries, with all hopes and positive attitude after test positive became the most negative word of 2020. This is a wishful thinking and hope for me. My dear friends, I was associated with General Study Paper 3 of UPSC 4 years back, where I raised a question in the General Study Paper 3 that was the difference between Bharat and India. I am sorry to confess that most of the candidates wrote Bharat lives in villages and India lives in cities. Whereas Bharat needs to be understood as Bha means knowledge, Rat means seeker. Bharat is a knowledge seeker economy from the very beginning. That is why it has been enjoying the status of Vishwa Guru, and none of the country could dare to snatch this right from us because of our spiritual wisdom. And we have a very bright future in times to come, particularly in 2021. Sadly, Bharat is called in English dictionaries as independent nation declared in August. But for making it incredible India, we have to go in for independence, economic independence. We have to popularize India as a non-violent nation which is dedicated to father of the nation, whose birthday, October 2, has become International Non-Violence Day by the United Nations. Democracy is our strength as well as weakness, and people in India have honesty, integrity, except our politicians who are both basically responsible for destroying the social fabric of our society. Amity is being talked about. Four generations live together in India. Therefore, to make India incredible, we have to promote India as independent, non-violent democracy with integrity and amity, which can lead Bharat to basically Atmanirbharta. Atmanirbharta is basically dependence on soul, and for that we have to understand the message of Bhagavad Gita in totality. There are 700 shlokas in Bhagavad Gita in 18 chapters, but if you put it in Google search engine, there is one shloka called Ek Shloki Gita, and that is Yatra Yogeshwar Krishno, Yatra Partharo Dhar, Tatra Sri Vijyo Bhumardhuta Nitramatramam, meaning thereby to move on the ladder of success for Atmanirbharta with morality, opulence, victory, and empowerment, believe that Krishna and Arjuna is with you, and that is last shloka of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, and that is called Ek Shloki Gita, which can become relevant for achieving Atmanirbharta for all of us. I have conceptualized society as all minus I. I myself is not society. Around I is society. Around you is society. So think of society around you, not talking of global society, not talking of national society, but when we have to identify our role in the society, we have to look around instead of boasting that we are working for global society, we are working for Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, but we have to take care of the people around I, around you. In economics, in neonomics, we have four actors: consumers, producers, distributors, and traders. Let me honestly tell you, when I was a student, I was told that producer is a hero because a law in economics, supply creates its own demand, was operational. But today, this sales law market has become obsolete. Today, consumer is the hero who demands what is needed by him, not desires, wants, and demands, but practically needs. And it is the duty of the market to provide, supply the goods and services which are to be taken as heroine by a hero. And you know very well, a story in Bollywood or Hollywood is never complete with the role of a villain. To my mind, all those providing goods and services supplied to the hero of neuronomics as consumer, they are to be treated as villain, and we should find out how we can go in for solving the problems of Atmanirbharta through neuronomics. To me personally, Atmanirbharta is neuronomics, and neuronomics is Atmanirbharta. Therefore, Atmanirbharta is neuronomics and vice versa. This need to be researched by all the scholars so that we can have empirical evidences on the basis of which we can say that neuronomics is required for Atmanirbharta and Atmanirbharta is required for neuronomics, economics of needs, which is required as one of the important pillars of Atmanirbharta as conceived by Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. To do this, we have to reread Gita. It has 700 shlokas in 18 chapters to recall self as soul. Atmanirbharta, whether you talk it self-sufficiency or you talk of self-reliance, cannot be achieved without understanding, interpreting, adopting the conceptualization of soul. Here I would like to tell you that when Uddhavji asked Lord Krishna, who is basically the greatest fool on this earth. Probably you know Kalidas has been called basically the fool of first order, but Krishna told Uddhav that it is he or she who considers oneself as a physical body is the greatest fool. Therefore, if we have to have Atmanirbharta, we have to consider ourselves as souls. On the basis of that, we can become fearless. Fear is false, evidence is appearing real, and we should not worry about death because soul is immortal, which is sufficient for achieving Atmanirbharta. And with this, we have to empowerment with enlightenment is required to be accepted. Although we have been going on with a number of programs in my beloved country, women empowerment, youth empowerment, we talk about, but this is incomplete without enlightenment, without lessons to be learned from Bhagavad Gita. We have to adopt altruistic approach, self sufficiency and self-reliance can be achieved by altruistic approach, not selfish behavior. But if you have been a student of National Service Scheme, you know the logo of NSS, that is not me, but you. This principle is most relevant in present times when we are victim of COVID crisis. Therefore, altruistic approach needs to be developed by all of us. This requires commitment by all the stakeholders of Nidonomics or Atmanirbharta in the real sense as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders. All of us as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders should hold on needs. This is a model which I conceived few days back, and I'm still working how to develop it further for making it really a model of Atmanirbharta as well as Nidonomics, which needs to be understood. My dear friends, all the citizens of my beloved India, Bharat, including people living in rural areas, as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders, should know the realities of the COVID crisis. COVID crisis has given one thing positive, that is basically internationalization of Indianization, that is Namaste and Namaskar. You know, the health protocol of WHO, which says physical distancing, nobody is allowed to have shaking hands or hugging. Therefore, Namaste and basically Namaskar has become internationalized today, and it is the positive implication of this COVID crisis. To my mind, Atmanirbharta is a necessary and sufficient condition for sustainable development by keeping in check on greed, which is villain for all. To my mind, greed is basically causing the problem of terrorism, nepotism, corruption, all kind of crimes. We are victim because of greed. Therefore, to make achieve sustainable development, ensuring intergenerational equity, Atmanirbharta is necessary and sufficient. This is my faith, my belief. For this, we have to understand and adopt needonomics, as I was telling to you, economics of need, which is based on Gita as an insurance. Life Insurance Corporation is using its logo for Atmanirbharta for survival, existence, and excellence of every Indian, including villagers and farmers who are protesting at the moment. If you try to introspect why farmers are on agitational path, to my mind, my farmers are not fools if the government is clever. We have to think of them with empathy, not sympathy. And for that, we have to fit into the framework, the Chakravyuh challenges our economy is facing today. And because of the socio-economic problems or debt, I call it Cobra effect or debt. Because when you take some measures which has unhappy consequences, Like if you get a loan, you become a victim of bonded labor. It used to be there long ago, but now to some extent people are not afraid of paying back the loans, but it is a cobra effect which must be understood. And for that, I have been advocating our people should get loans on zero rate of interest. But giving zero free loan on zero rate of interest is possible only if we are able to say no to subsidies. I have been observing very keenly four policies of my economy, that is monetary policy, fiscal policy, manufacturing policy, and foreign trade policy. I would like to share with you that manufacturing policy says that we have to have modernization of micro, small, medium enterprises, but that requires financing. Something is coming from in the form of subsidies under the fiscal policy, which I advocate should be taken as zero, and that should be given to monetary policy for giving the loans to all the stakeholders of the economy on a zero rate of interest, because subsidies are being misutilized also. And when there's a cap on the loan, that you cannot get loan more than that, under foreign trade policy, we go in for second-hand imported technology. That can also be said no if we give loans in sufficient amount to the people for modernization of micro, small, medium enterprises, including the agriculture sector. For that, we have to adopt needonomics, economics of need, which is not simply in terms for reducing your own consumption. We have to have eclectic approach for consumption. We should not spend our money wastingly, but we should have judicious expenditure, which should be need based. And not only that, our producers, distributors, traders have to adopt na approach. They have to create need, affordability, and worth of the product. If I like to test with you, Dr. Shefali, what is this? Are you online? Hello? Anybody online?
Yes, sir.
This is pen.
I'm showing you something. What is this?
This is pen.
Pen, sir, pen.
This is not pen, but it is a pen-type water filter. You know, the entire country is suffering from drinking water problem. Our water is polluted and it is not safe for drinking. This is a product, pen-type water filter, which has come in the market. This can be used to purify the glass of water wherever you are, whether you are traveling, whether you are sitting in office. You need not to depend upon RO or any kind of sophisticated technology. But this is a product which you need it. Or do you need it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Meaning thereby,
Yes,
I am
sir.
able to create a need for pen-type water filter to you. As you know, market is full of goods and services, but I have not told you the price of this. If I say this pen-type water filter is available to you in $500, would you like to buy it? I think you don't have dollars at the moment in your pockets. Meaning thereby, when the market is full of goods and services and the economy is suffering from recession, demand recession, purchasing power is not there, it is the duty of the marketers, the producers, the distributors to make it affordable. How to make it affordable? If I say, my man will come to you to give you this pen-type water filter, and he will just come to you for 365 days, charging 1 rupee per day. What I have done? I have made this pen-type water filter affordable to you, and it is worth its price. Therefore, NAW approach includes need, affordability, and worth of the product for agro product marketing, which is required by the farmers at the moment. Hopefully, you understand now what is NA approach or marketing to be adopted for agro product. We have to overhaul the entire system of rural development. Honestly speaking, there are inefficiencies, there are misuses of the schemes, with the nexus of politicians and the bureaucrats, the entire machinery. We find misutilization of the resources, the allocations of resources coming from government of India, state governments are being misused, and there are various kind of inefficiencies. To my mind, we have to overhaul the entire system of rural development. I believe the deficits of all kinds, fiscal, revenue, budget, primary, trade, and above all, trust. Trust deficit is very important, can be addressed by reducing the coefficient of distrust. Honestly speaking, the farmers agitating today, it is because of trust deficit. They don't trust the three acts which has been passed by the government of India. Therefore, it is our duty to reduce the coefficient of trust so that all kind of deficits, fiscal, revenue, budget, primary, and trade deficit be reduced. This calls for judicious expenditure. Honestly speaking, our governments are spending money like anything. Wherever they have to spend, they don't spend. Where they don't require to spend, they spend. And to have this judicious expenditure, we must follow the canons of public expenditure given by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who has given three canons. Three canons are economy in execution, use the wisdom of the professionals, and be faithful to the intentions of the people as farmers are asking for MSP. We have to have user pay principle. I believe all goods and services should be used by the people by making a payment. I have learned this long, long ago when I was in United States in 1983. People in United States pay for whatever they use. They don't believe in free rider problem. Free rider problem is basically has eaten our social fabric of society in India. We are responsible for announcing free water, free electricity to the farmers, which is causing problem. To my mind, rural development requires matching grants. Here, I place on record former Deputy Prime Minister of India, Chaudhry Devilal. I have seen him in my own village. When he came to my village, he asked people that, okay, we are ready to do this, but you also contribute something. So we can develop some matching grants on the 50-50 ratio, or it can be 25 by the people, 75% of the government. Similarly, grants can be from the central government, state government, local government for doing activities in the rural areas. One important observation I would like to make that when I was in Malaysia, I saw rural tourism of very high quality. In the villages, people have just created a hall, dining hall, where they place the stuff at the time of breakfast, lunch, or dinner. People come, take the stuff, eat, and clean the utensils and go back, and the payments are made in advance. This leads to rural tourism, which is required in a big manner in my beloved country for rural development. You know, our country is a victim of droughts and floods. Both these problems can be addressed by rain harvesting. You know, we are neither ready for droughts nor for floods. To solve this problem, we need to have rain harvesting in a big manner. For that, we need to make use of the NREGA funds, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. We are implementing, and many times we don't have proper projects for that. So rain harvesting can be the project for NREGA scheme to be properly utilized. We have to use solar energy also, because energy can never be sufficient. Although government claims 24 hours, 7 days energy availability, but demand is more than supply. Therefore, to make it sufficient, we must utilize solar energy, and government should come out with schemes for developing the use of solar energy in rural area. We have to learn best practices from other countries like South Korea. South Korea has a culture, Palli Palli culture. Although in India we talk of haste makes waste, but Palli Palli means hurry up, be quick. That culture needs to be adopted for decision making. We are very slow in decision taking. Therefore, we have to become quick, and we have to use the concept of Palli Palli as hurry up culture required in our country. For rural development, I have seen one Samuel model of rural development, which is excellent in Republic of Korea, South Korea, where they spend only 11% of expenditure, and that too not in cash but in kind. But they monitor, they involve the villagers in this Samuel model for rural development, and their monitoring and evaluation is excellent, which needs to be adopted in India for rural development. In India, we have been adopting post-mortem approach. Whenever we fail, we diagnose it, why the person has died, why deaths are taking place, either by COVID or by other reasons. But we have to adopt prognosis approach. We have to think in advance. Planning is required in a big manner. But I'm sorry to say that Government of India has winded up Planning Commission, substituted it with uh, basically uh, what you call Niti Aayog, National Transformation Agency we are talking about, but it cannot be a substitute of Planning Commission. Niti Aayog is basically a dog without teeth, which cannot bite anybody, cannot give anything. There used to be the allocation of resources under planning, non-planning, which has given natural death. Nowadays, we don't have this system of planning expenditure and non-plan expenditure. We are having only capital expenditure and revenue expenditure, which becomes the basis of the entire budgetary procedure in my beloved country, at the national level, at the state level, at the local level. To solve the problem of rural areas, our villagers need to be street smart. They must understand, as a consumers, as a producers, as a distributor, what is happening around us. The farmers should also understand that what is going on in our beloved country. As a consumer, as a producer, as a distributor and trader, environment around us, you know very well that we are going for sustainable development. We are having sustainable development goals 2030s. Achieving all these 17 targets become impossible. But coming out of COVID crisis, also in post-COVID era, we have to come out with strategies, development strategies. For that, we as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders have to be street smart. Smart includes 5 alphabets. I'll start in reverse order. That is transparency. Although Government of India has conceived RTI as a solution for bringing transparency, but sorry to say that it has aggravated the problem. It has rather given a birth to new kind of crimes, which I call white collar crimes. RTI activists are misusing the act for harassing the people, taking information and misusing it. But for bringing transparency, presently everything is going online. Online teaching, online uh, business, online marketing, but it is having many good things also, bad things also. Artificial intelligence is in play. I appreciate artificial intelligence if it is used positively, but it has its misuses also. You know very well, cyber crimes are taking place almost daily. Number of emails, number of calls coming from fake people are coming to you. Therefore, we have to use artificial intelligence with awareness, alertness, and awakening. Then only we can bring transparency, making use of online teaching, online learning, online business, online marketing. Responsiveness is needed in my beloved country. I was telling to you that we delay things like anything. There are judicial cases like pending in the courts for the last 20 years, 30 years. Even in education, we are not able to declare the result on time. For that, we need responsiveness. Certain things can be done within 24 hours. Certain things can be done in 7 days. In South Korea, when I was teaching there in Hankook University of Foreign Studies, we were expected to declare the result within a week. And that is to be put on the website so that students can first evaluate the teachers and then can see their result. This kind of responsiveness is required in my beloved country. We are having target-oriented approach of wasting the resources on 31st March, which has become a ritual day of wasting the resources. People sit in the offices till 12 o'clock and they just manipulate with the data, come out with fake bills, and basically destroying the utilization pattern, where pattern is not judicious in terms of spending. And let me honestly tell you, the allocations coming from the Ministry of Finance, which is expected to reach in the month of April, comes in the month of October, November, and ultimately, so for utilization aspect is concerned, only 30% maximum is taking place up to December, and 70% is being spent in the month of January, February, and March. Heaven is not going to fall if the money is not utilized in up to March. Let it be available to people in the month of April, May, June, and that requires for action-oriented approach, result-oriented approach, replacing the target-oriented approach of wasting the resources on 31st March for a financial year which starts on April 1st, which I call Fool's Day. Morality is the name of the game in neonomics, in Atmanirbharta. Ethics with economics have been talked about, and when we talk of earth with dharma, ethics with economics, that becomes moral, what to do, what not to do, that has to be kept in mind for achieving the objective of neonomics and Atmanirbharta. Last but not the least, in this model is the word simple. Simple living and high thinking has been talked about by Mahatma Gandhi. But I, being humble student, teacher, researcher, and resident of Kurukshetra, talk about simple living and no thinking. No thinking does not mean that we should not think. We should think of those things which are in our control, and we should not think of those things which are not in our control. And that is the message of Bhagavad Gita also. IQ has become obsolete today. It is possessed by your smartphones. It is possessed by your laptop, your PC. Today, we can be better human beings with higher emotional quotient by motivating ourselves, motivating others, and empathizing with others. Let me honestly tell you, the gaps between the government and the farmers is because that both are not having empathy, they are having sympathy only. Farmers are looked as a subject of charity, which is unfair on the part of government. If it is clever, we should have empathy with the farmers who are protesting on roads. Therefore, we have to develop our emotional quotient, but by developing motivation, motivating others, and empathizing, then only we can solve many of the problems prevailing in the society. Here I would like to draw attention that you know very well why there is farmers' agitation. What is their demands? If you try to understand that, you know, whatever they sell it on wholesale price index, wholesale prices. And when they buy things, they buy it on retail things. And to my mind, to address the problems of the farmers, we should reduce the gap between the inflation of wholesale price based and retail price based on consumer price index. Therefore, we can solve many of the problems because of the gap lying between the government and the farmers. We have to develop love oneself attitude. Although Bollywood and Hollywood talks of I love you, ilu ilu, but I always say love oneself attitude. I love myself as a soul, and soul is immortal, death rate is zero. That is why I promote fearlessness. And I was telling to you, fear is false, evidence is appearing real. We should not be afraid of death at all, even in the present era of COVID crisis. All this calls for physical development. Physical development means we should have health culture. We don't have proper health culture in my beloved country, although we have been talking of Ayushman Bharat. There are misutilization of resources. I was reading in a newspaper that how the finances allocated to Ayushman Bharat has been misutilized by many, having fake bills, and there is a nexus going on among the stakeholders. but we need health. Health is wealth. A sound mind lives in a sound body, and maximum of the problems of health can be taken care of. The kind of food we eat, the healthy food we should eat, vegetarian food we should eat, and not only that, we should go in for fasting. Fasting is equally important for physical development. Mental level development needs a serious attention of the stakeholders. We are blaming each other. Farmers are blaming government, government is blaming farmers, politicians are blaming bureaucrats, teachers are blaming students are blaming teachers. Everybody is having war of words. To say no to this war of words, we should change our attitude, we should change our looks, we should change our actions, we should change our words. I call it LAWS, law of the land. Then only we can think of solving many problems in the economy by achieving Atmanirbharta, adopting neonomics. Intuition development. As an economist, as an economist, if I have to make prediction about the development of my beloved nation, Bharat, Atmanirbharta in Bharat, I believe the rate of progress in spirituality is faster than the rate of progress in materialism. This requires SQ development, which is related with soul. Your IQ is related with your head. EQ is related with your heart. SQ is related with soul. Therefore, we have to have balancing between SQ, EQ for achieving the objectives of Atam Nirvarta. Atam means soul, dependent on soul. Atam Nirvarta, which is being talked about in my beloved nation by the Prime Minister with a sermon of be vocal for local. But I always say that instead of using be vocal for local, we should use diplomatic language of localization, think globally, act locally. Let me conclude my discussion, which I have to say that for stopping victimization of the cobra effect of debt among farmers, we have to give them loans on zero rate of interest. Farmers' agitation can be solved by empathy with the farmers, considering them not fools if government is clever. Atmanirbharta in rural India calls for street smart villagers as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders. Atmanirbharta in rural India is necessary for sustainable development with use of solar energy, rain harvesting, and rural tourism as in Malaysia. For Atmanirbharta in rural India, we need to learn from Sembul model of rural development and Pali Pali culture of South Korea, involving all with only 11% contribution of the government through training and material instead of money in cash in villages. We have to adopt NAW approach, need, affordability, and worth approach of agro products marketing with neuronomics in choices of all kinds. To obtain Atmanirbharta in rural India, we need REACH model consisting of 5 steps, including reading Gita, empowerment with enlightenment, altruistic approach, commitment, and holding needs. We need overhauling of the entire system of rural development, full of inefficiencies, unhealthy practices, and misuse of the provisions in schemes with polluted mindsets of the nexus of politicians and corrupt officials. Above all, for achieving Atmanirbharta and leadernomics, we need to become state smart and simple. I have quoted many readings, latest things I have put it in. If you put in Google search engine my name or the conceptualization of Atmanirbhar Bharat or Atmanirbharta or leadernomics, you will find a lot of publications with which you can understand the relevance of leadernomics for Atmanirbharta in the rural area. With these words, I am grateful to Dr. Shefali Nagpal for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts with you. Thank you. Shefali is online, or who is online? Who is taking care of? Verma ji?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. If any questions, you are welcome to talk to me on these issues. Yeah.
नमस्कार सर।
Namaskar.
सर मैं जोगिंदर अलावत GCW रोहतक से बोल रहा हूँ सर।
Very good. Very good. कैसे हैं अलावा साहब?
बिल्कुल ठीक है सर।
हाँ बोलिए।
मैं आपकी जो सपोर्ट आई किसानों के लिए, कुछ लोग उनको कुछ आतंकवादी बोल रहे हैं, कुछ खालिस्तानी बोल रहे हैं। आप जैसे जो अच्छे इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं, वो इस बिल के बारे में क्या बोलना चाह रहे हैं? मैं आपके व्यू सुनना चाहता हूँ सर प्लीज, ताकि हमें भी और उसके बारे में ज्यादा पता चले और
मैंने
हमें
दो
उससे
जोगिंदर
इन्फॉर्मेशन
जी मैंने
मिले।
2 बार रिपीट किया, farmers
Yes, sir.
are not fools if the government is clever.
Yes sir.
As an economist, let me tell you, I have been observing very keenly the entire episode of all these 3 acts, which I have tried to understand. And basically, we have 3-tier government in our country:
Yes sir.
central government, state government, and local government. I'm sorry to say that we don't have proper allocation of functions in all these 3-tier government. Presently, agriculture is a state subject, although central government says that it is on concurrent list. Government of India has no right to enact any law for agriculture. It is a state subject. Moreover, the sequencing they have adopted is not proper. And so far, the demands of the farmers are concerned. I was telling to you that farmers have been made victim because of the subsidies, because of the loans, and that cobra effect I was talking to you, the Chakravyuh challenges in which farmers are put, that are not being understood. So, in right perspectives, as a student of economics and neonomics, we should conceptualize the role of the central government and the state government, and coordination between the central government and state government for solving the issue of farmers. So for the issue of MSP is concerned, farmers are asking for MSP. As a student of economics, let me tell you, when long ago, when we were the students, there was a commission called APC, Agriculture Price Commission, which was replaced by Commission on Agriculture Cost and Prices. That time, there used to be announcement of 3 prices. One was minimum support price. This is for continuing farmers to producing foods, because we wanted to create buffer stocks, for which FCI was created. Sadly, FCI proved to be villain number 1 for the farmers. If today farmers don't even understand what they have to ask, although I have been writing very forcefully on this farmers agitation, I wrote in Tribune also. You can find out my views even on Google search engine. I believe that MSP should not be asked for as a legislation, but we should ask for having MSP for every month. You know, if today I go to market buying wheat, I don't buy wheat, but I go for flour, atta.
Yes sir.
Last week I bought it in 30 rupee per kg, meaning thereby out of 30, 2.50 is the taken by flour mill, and 170 is the price of wheat. But farmers are not getting 270. Who is getting? Even if you have listened, many of the farmers, they sell potato at 2 rupees, whereas it is coming back to you in rupees 60, uncle chips and all that. Therefore, we have to understand the gaps between this MSP, and for that I have been asking for, there should be MSP for every month. If you want to sell your product in April, this should be the price. If you want to sell in May, this should be the price, and it should continue till next March.
Yes,
when APC was there, we were having procurement price also. Procurement price means which is higher than minimum support price, on which government used to buy food grains, wheat, rice. But that was stopped long ago by the government. Haryana government was announcing bonus, sometimes 5 rupees, sometimes 10 rupees to buy the food grains, wheat and rice from the farmers, which is stopped now. Why? Because the FCI godowns are full of, and there is no place to buy more food grains. Therefore, government cannot have the commitment for MSP at all. So far FCI's role is concerned, I was telling to you that it played a negative role. If I'm in place of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, first thing I will do is I will wind up FCI and will give the ownership to the farmers so that they utilize the storage capacity and bring out their product month by month and avail the benefit of MSP. That can lead to double income of the farmers. Therefore, the gaps between the farmers and the government needs to be reduced by empathy, not sympathy. We have to understand the problems of farmers, as well as government should not become clever to simply create problems, but sort out the issues amicably with healthy discussions with the farmers. Up till now, you might have seen all the discussions going on every day on the TV. That is by political parties. They have not invited the experts. They have not associated the economists to come out with the solution of the problem. Therefore, until we use the wisdom of the experts, the problems of the farmers cannot be sorted out.
यस सर, यस सर, आई थिंक सेम प्रॉब्लम है। ये किसी स्पेशलिस्ट को बुलाने के बजाय किसी राजनीतिक पार्टी वाले को बुला रहे हैं और उसके कारण से सॉल्यूशन पॉसिबल नहीं हो पा रहा है सर।
नहीं, यस, दिस इज द रीजन, या।
और इन्होंने इस बिल में ये भी लिख दिया कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट उसको अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा उसमें।
वो गलत है,
एक बिल में इन्होंने ये लगाया है।
देखिए वही तो चीज है जी कि फेडरल इकोनॉमी, देयर इज ए फेडरल इकोनॉमिक क्राइसिस, सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस आर गोइंग टू बी पॉल्यूटेड, देयरफॉर वी शुड नॉट एनक्रोच अपॉन। अभी यार एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की देख लीजिए आपने, जो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी है ना 2020, उसमें अगर आप स्टडी करें, हर गवर्नमेंट एजुकेशन में रोल प्ले कर रही है। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी भी चला रही है, कॉलेज भी चला रही है, स्कूल भी चला रही है। क्यों भाई? ये बांट नहीं सकते क्या कि भाई +2 एजुकेशन सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट देगी, हायर एजुकेशन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट करेगी और लोकल गवर्नमेंट जो है प्राइमरी स्कूल चलाएगी। तो कुछ हद तक अगर हम एलोकेशन ऑफ फंक्शंस ठीक कर ले, मैं तो कहता हूं कि वी हैव टू रीडिफाइन द फंक्शंस ऑफ 3 tier गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एंड लोकल गवर्नमेंट। अगर आपने इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ी है, इकोनॉमिक्स में जब हम क्लासिकल स्कूल ऑफ थॉट को पढ़ते हैं, वहां एक फिलॉसफी ऑफ लेसर फेयर की बात होती थी, नो इंटरवेंशन ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट। इसका मतलब ये नहीं होता था कि उस समय गवर्नमेंट नहीं होती थी, गवर्नमेंट होती थी, गवर्नमेंट का रोल फैसिलिटेटिव होता था, गवर्नमेंट लॉ एंड ऑर्डर करती थी। गवर्नमेंट का जो रोल है वो तो हम प्ले नहीं कर रहे, उसकी बजाय हम क्या कर रहे हैं, रेस्टोरेंट चला रहे हैं। अलावा साहब, हरियाणा में हरियाणा टूरिज्म कॉर्पोरेशन रेस्टोरेंट चलाती है, होटल चलाती है और लॉजेस में जाता है। मैंने सरकार को बहुत बार कह दिया कि ये होटल रेस्टोरेंट चलाने का काम सरकार का नहीं है, इसको वाइंड अप करो और ये दो प्राइवेट सेक्टर को, जो चीजें खुद करने की हैं वो प्राइवेटाइज कर रहे हैं।
यस सर।
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज द रिस्पांसिबिलिटी ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट। Roads is a social good, it is a public good, it should be constructed by the government. Why we are giving it to the private people for constructing it? Why these toll taxes? Therefore we don't know practically what to do and what not to do.
सर दिस इज द बिग प्रॉब्लम सर, क्योंकि हम जब रजिस्ट्रेशन के टाइम पे हमने फीस भर दी, उसके बाद भी रोड टोल टैक्स फिर दोबारा से हमें देने पड़ रहे हैं।
यस यस यस, यही तो इश्यूज हैं, यही तो इश्यूज हैं जो हम समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं।
यस सर, और गवर्नमेंट जो भी कुछ कर रही है, अभी हाल में किसान 30 यहाँ शायद 37 किसान अभी तक मर चुके हैं, लेकिन अभी तक उन्होंने कोई भी टाइम नहीं दिया उनको कि किस तरह का, उनको कम से कम कोई भी बात तो होनी चाहिए थी उनके साथ में सर।
राइट, एग्री विद यू। मैंने कहा बार बार, कई बार रिपीट किया ना, एम्पैथी, वी शुड नॉट हैव सिंपैथी विद द फार्मर्स, अगर हम फार्मर
Yes,
हो
sir.
तो क्या हाल होगा, राइट?
Yes,
मैं
sir.
अलावा साहब, मुझे कई
Yes,
बार
sir.
जोश आता है कि मैं फार्मर्स को डील करना जानता हूँ।
हाँ सर.
अब मैंने लिखा भी खूब है, और
अच्छा.
मैं तो ये कहता हूँ कि अगर फार्मर्स को रेम्यूनरेटिव प्राइस मिल जाए तो सरकार उनसे टैक्स भी ले सकती है। हमने उनके माइंडसेट को पॉल्यूट कर दिया सब्सिडी दे करके, और
Yes, sir.
रेम्यूनरेटिव प्राइस हम दे नहीं रहे।
हाँ सर.
तो मैं अगर प्राइम मिनिस्टर हूं तो मैं वहां जा करके ये अनाउंस कर दूं कि भाई हम एवरी एफर्ट विल बी मेड फॉर रेम्यूनरेटिव प्राइसेस, लेकिन भाई सरकार भी चलानी है और पूरी सुविधाएं भी देनी है। फार्मर एकदम एक्टिव हो जाएंगे। फार्मर्स के बारे में आपको पता होगा कि वो गन्ना नहीं देता, भेली दे देता है।
Yes,
तो
sir.
अगर हम फार्मर्स की साइकोलॉजी को समझें और उनके साथ एक बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्रिएट करें, तो सरकार के बिहेव पे भी हमारे जैसे लोग रोल प्ले कर सकते हैं और समस्या का समाधान निकाल सकते हैं।
सब्सिडी भी तो बड़े किसानों को ही मिलती है सर, जो पोली
बेटे,
हाउस है सब खत्म हो
वही
चुके
तो
हैं.
मिसयूज हो रहा है सब्सिडीज का। मैंने बोला था
Yes, sir.
कि हमें सब्सिडीज को भी जीरो कर देना चाहिए, उसकी बजाय
Yes, sir.
जीरो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर लोन देने चाहिए।
Yes, sir. ताकि छोटे किसान भी उसका लाभ उठा सके सर.
यस यस यस।
बहुत ही अच्छा लगा सर आपके ये बारे में विचार सुन के सर, और हमें थोड़ा और नॉलेज से बिल के बारे में मिली आपसे
थैंक यू।
कुछ. थैंक यू सर.
हेलो.
यस सर.
हेलो.
हाँ.
बोलिए बोलिए।
हेलो सर, मैं डॉक्टर अजय कुमार, मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
आ रही है आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ सर, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था सेल्फ रिलायंस को लेकर।
हाँ हाँ।
अगर सभी कंट्रीज सेल्फ रिलायंस पे जोर देंगी और सेल्फ रिलायंट हो जाएंगी तो वर्ल्ड ट्रेड और इकोनॉमी कैसे चलेगी और इसका डेवलपमेंट कैसे होगा सर?
डॉक्टर अजय शर्मा, मैंने जब शुरू किया था तब आपको बताया था सेल्फ रिलायंट इकोनॉमी होती है ओपन इकोनॉमी में, जहां ट्रेड होता है। तो हम जब फेवरेबल बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स होते हैं उसको सेल्फ रिलायंट इकोनॉमी कहा जाता है। आप जो बात कर रहे हैं, आप कर रहे हैं सेल्फ सफिशिएंट इकोनॉमी की। सेल्फ सफिशिएंट इकोनॉमी इज इन ए क्लोज्ड इकोनॉमी वेयर देयर इज नो इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड। और मैं बार बार कहता रहा हूं कि इट इज लाइक फ्रॉग ऑफ द वेल अप्रोच। आज जब हम WTO के मेंबर हैं, जब हम UNO के मेंबर हैं, तो बिना फॉरेन ट्रेड के सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी का ऑब्जेक्टिव यूजलेस है। आप देखते होंगे कि अब आजकल हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर लोकल टू ग्लोबल कहने लगे हैं। देखिए, एक तरफ हम ग्लोबल लीडर बनना चाहते हैं, हम यूनाइटेड नेशंस में परमानेंट सीट मांग रहे हैं, दूसरी तरफ हम बार बार बी वोकल फॉर लोकल कह रहे हैं। तो ये विरोधाभास है हमारी इस वाणी में। हमें अपनी इस वाणी का प्रयोग करना आना चाहिए। मैं तो रिपीटेडली ये बात कहता रहा हूं, मेरा अपना अनुभव है चाइनीज लोगों के साथ डील करने का। मैं जब साउथ कोरिया में था उन दिनों में वहां एक अखबार था कोरिया टाइम्स, उसमें चाइना के खिलाफ लिखा करता था। मुझे एक अमेरिका से कॉल आई थी कि गोयल साहब, हम आपको मार देंगे अगर आपने अपनी टोन चेंज ना की। हम एकदम समझ गए बात, और हमने चाइना की एब्रीवेशन बनाई CHINA, कम होम आई नीड अफेक्शन। डॉक्टर अजय शर्मा, आप यकीन नहीं मानेंगे, मेरे कुलीग्स जो हैंकॉक यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ फॉरेन स्टडीज में थे उसमें कम से कम 20 प्रोफेसर चाइनीज थे। उनके ऊपर मैंने इसको एक्सपेरिमेंट किया। डेली हम ब्रेकफास्ट में मिलते थे तो मैं कहता था फॉर इंडिया चाइना इज कम होम आई नीड अफेक्शन, और इसका प्रभाव ये हुआ कि वो मेरे बहुत अच्छे दोस्त बन गए। यानी कि हमें हिपोक्रेसी नहीं करनी, बी वोकल फॉर लोकल नहीं चलेगा, बल्कि हमें ग्लोकलाइजेशन शब्द का प्रयोग करना पड़ेगा। बी थिंक ग्लोबली एक्ट लोकली। तो सेल्फ रिलायंस का कॉन्सेप्ट ओपन इकोनॉमी में होता है और सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी का ऑब्जेक्टिव क्लोज्ड इकोनॉमी में होता है।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
हाँ जी, बोलिए।
Good morning sir, Naveen this side. Being a student of literature, I don't have much knowledge economics,
Very
but I read somewhere that the Indian economy has gone to the level of minus 22%.
Right.
And opposition is also blaming the government for this.
Right.
And the government is saying that the India will be the fourth largest economy by the end of 2030.
Yeah.
Is it true or not?
देखिए, मेरे से भी कुछ लोग पूछ रहे हैं क्वेश्चन ये कि जब हम रिसर्च करते हैं ना, किसी जमाने में we were talking of BC, before Christ, and AC for after Christ. Ab research will be before COVID and after COVID. Before COVID also, we were going slow. Our rate of growth in the economy was slow. And slow growth rate is a global phenomenon these days. Most of the economies have slow growth rate. And because of COVID, because of lockdown, we have broken the supply chain management. And not only that, recession is on the demand side. Purchasing power of people have reduced. Market is full of goods and services, but there are no buyers. How to create demand? That is why I was talking to you about NAW approach of marketing, not only all goods and services, but the agro products. Therefore, solutions are there. And as you rightly said it, that we will come out of the COVID crisis only in 2030, which is co-terminus with the Sustainable Development Goals, which United Nations has considered. But for that, we have to adopt this concept of Atmanirbharta as well as needonomics, where needonomics calls for judicious expenditure, user pay principle, and not enjoying free things. I always talk of that there is no need of giving subsidies, zero subsidy, but financing should be made available to the people on zero rate of interest so that micro, small, medium enterprises, rural industries. Let me honestly tell you that I have forgotten to mention that when I was talking about rural tourism, which is a component of rural development. For rural development, we need rural industrialization also. Rural industrialization means backward and forward linkage with agriculture. The product of agriculture should be utilized by the industries, and similarly, the input should be provided to the agriculture sector. That is called rural industries. Whereas village industries are industries located in villages only. Whereas rural industry can have location even in cosmopolitan cities. You know, tractors are not produced in villages. They are produced by good companies, Ford company, but they are sold to the farmers in the villages. Therefore, any industry which is having backward linkage and forward linkage with agriculture is called rural industry, and we have to do rural industrialization in a big manner. Honestly speaking, the problem of slow growth rate can also be achieved by promoting rural industrialization. Presently, you might have seen that agriculture, even during the COVID era, had shown 4% rate of growth, whereas otherwise the entire economy were running in losses. Therefore, we have to identify potential of progress coming out of the crisis of COVID, as well as slowdown, as well as recession through rural industrialization, rural development, which has a lot of potential.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. I am Kaushik this side.
Good.
Yes, sir. I want to discuss about the farmer problem as government has given the concept of mega food park by Ministry of Food and Processing.
Yes.
But this scheme is pending. Most of the food park concept construction is not there, and we have a storage problem in our country.
Yes.
Most of our grain become waste due to the less storage capacity. So your take on this, how can we increase the mega food park and how it will be beneficial for the farmers, direct linkage between farmer and the storage system?
Kaushik Saab, if you have heard me, I was
Yes.
already making a case that FCI should be winded up. and the
Yes.
entire storage capacity should be at the farmers level.
Okay.
अगर हमने FCI की बजाय जो पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने बिना कैबिनेट को कॉन्फिडेंस में लिए हुए क्रिएट की थी उस समय बफर स्टॉक्स के लिए, अगर यही स्टोरेज कैपेसिटी फार्मर्स के पास होती तो आज एग्रीकल्चर की सिचुएशन ही डिफरेंट होती। जहां तक बात आपने की फूड पार्क्स की,
Yes.
जिस समय नीतीश कुमार देश के कृषि मंत्री होते थे, कब थे? 2000 में। 2000 में उन्होंने एक नेशनल एग्रीकल्चर पॉलिसी का ड्राफ्ट बनाया था।
Yes, sir.
उसमें कॉन्सेप्ट था रेनबो रेवोल्यूशन। सुना है आपने कभी?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
रेनबो रेवोल्यूशन का क्या मतलब होता है कौशिक साहब?
Seven rainbow has 7 colors. It means
इसी में 7 कलर कौन कौन से बताए थे उन्होंने?
sir, different types of foods colors.
No. It's not like that.
Okay.
Rainbow revolution means, note कर लीजिए
Yes, sir.
कौशिक साहब, rainbow revolution means not only increasing the agriculture productivity,
Yes, sir.
farm productivity, labor productivity, but
Okay.
we have to go in for agro product processing, as you are telling, food processing,
Food processing.
plus
Yes, sir.
exports.
Yes,
देखिए
sir.
ट्रेजेडी देखिए कौशिक साहब, आपने प्रॉब्लम को समझ लिया है।
Yes, sir.
ये रेनबो रेवोल्यूशन में 2000 में नीतीश कुमार जी की पॉलिसी में था कि
Yes,
हमें
sir.
एग्रीकल्चर की प्रोडक्टिविटी को ही नहीं बढ़ाना चाहिए, बल्कि हमें
Processing.
एग्रो प्रोडक्ट प्रोसेसिंग करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि
Yes, sir.
फार्मर की प्रोडक्शन ज्यादा होने के बावजूद भी
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
आवाज कहाँ से आ रही है यार? अगर हम एग्रो प्रोडक्ट प्रोसेसिंग करते हैं, उससे एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर के पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉसेस को कम किया जा सकता है। एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम ये है कि पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट लॉसेस वेरी करते हैं 30% to 70%, और पेरिशेबल आइटम्स में तो ये और भी ज्यादा है। इसका समाधान यही है कि रूरल एरियाज में एग्रो प्रोडक्ट प्रोसेसिंग हो। हमारे हरियाणा में यहाँ अंबाला के पास एक गांव है साहा, वहाँ फूड पार्क बना है, और आजकल आप जो पतंजलि के प्रोडक्ट यूज करते हैं, जूसेस यूज करते हैं, एलोवेरा यूज करते हैं, वो सारे जूस आपके यहाँ साहा में बन रहे हैं, और पतंजलि का सिर्फ उसके ऊपर टैग लग रहा है। वास्तव में फूड पार्क्स तो बने हैं, फूड प्रोसेसिंग की यूनिट्स की और ज्यादा जरूरत है, उनको स्ट्रेंथन करना चाहिए, लेकिन उससे भी ज्यादा हम चाहे एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स की प्रोडक्टिविटी को बढ़ाएं, चाहे एग्रो प्रोडक्ट्स की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को बढ़ाएं। ऑल्दो हमारे यहाँ डोमेस्टिक डिमांड है, ऐसे हम कहते हैं बी वोकल फॉर लोकल, लेकिन आत्मनिर्भरता अचीव करने के लिए, सेल्फ रिलायंस अचीव करने के लिए हमें कुएं के मेंढक की अप्रोच को छोड़ करके हमें एक्सपोर्ट की बात सोचनी होगी। बिना एग्रो प्रोडक्ट्स के एक्सपोर्ट के हम अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अचीव नहीं कर सकते। और इसके लिए मैं कहा करता हूं कि देखिए, आप गुड़ खाते होंगे, मैं भी खूब खाता हूं, और गुड़ जो है, पुरानी बात सुनाता हूं आपको, 1982 में जब बर्फी का रेट 20 रुपए किलो होता था, मैं उन दिनों चंडीगढ़ डेली जाया करता था, रिसर्च कर रहा था, और मैंने गुड़ 20 रुपए किलो खरीदा था जब बर्फी 20 रुपए किलो होती। आजकल बर्फी 300 रुपए किलो है, गुड़ भी उस तरीके का गुड़ भी यहाँ अवेलेबल है, वो 280 रुपए किलो है। कहने का मतलब क्या हुआ कि क्या हम अपने इस गुड़ को, जो हम खूब बनाते हैं शुगर केन का, लेकिन क्या हमने इसको विदेशों में एपेटाइजर और डेजर्ट बनाया है? अगर हम गुड़ की जैगरी की पैकिंग करना सीख लें, टॉफीज चॉकलेट्स बनाना सीख लें, केक्स बनाना सीख लें, तो हम वास्तव में पूरे विश्व को गुड़ बेच सकते हैं, और उससे हमें इवन और कोई चीज बेचने की जरूरत नहीं है, मेरी ये मान्यता है। तो समस्याओं के समाधान हैं अगर हम इसको ठीक तरीके से करें। तो रेनबो रेवोल्यूशन इज द सॉल्यूशन ऑफ द फार्मिंग सेक्टर with which we can not only increase productivity, we can go for agro product processing plus exports of agro products. That can solve it.
Definitely, sir. Thanks for your comments.
Hello, sir. Myself, Vasundhara, from Government College for Women, Hisar.
Good.
Sir, I was asking you about this, that you were talking about rural tourism and how
Yes.
India is lacking in rural tourism. And now that because of COVID, international tourism has got a hit. So can this be seen as an opportunity for a country like India to boost our rural tourism?
देखिए, don't refer in terms of COVID crisis only, because this is going to be over sooner or later. Vaccine is already there. So in 2021, we should be hopeful that it will be over. But so far, I was giving an example of rural tourism of Malaysia. I went to Malaysia in 2010. There I have seen, I was attending one conference. One day they took us for rural tourism, and there we have seen it was in the interior of the forest, and small villages were there, and all of us stayed in small huts over there. But here, as Himachal is doing, they are allowing people to use one room as a guest room, so that they eat in the family, they pay for that. It certainly improves the income. So there is certainly a potential for rural tourism, if not from the point of view of foreigners, from the point of view of domestic tourists also. You know, घर का खाने का मुकाबला नहीं है, अभी कोविड में महसूस हो गया ना आपको। तो बाहर रेस्टोरेंट का खाना खाने की बजाय होटल में ढाबे पे खाने की बजाय अगर लोगों को डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी रूरल एरिया में, राजस्थान में भी खूब हो रहा है रूरल टूरिज्म। हमारे हरियाणा में अभी तक ये कॉन्सेप्ट अभी नहीं आया। यहाँ तो हरियाणा टूरिज्म कॉर्पोरेशन के जो हमारे कॉम्प्लेक्सेस हैं वहाँ ही धंधा चल रहा है, वो भी बेसिकली गलत कामों के लिए हो रहा है यूज। आई हैव नो हिंच इन सेइंग इट कि जो ऑफिशियल्स हैं, गवर्नमेंट मशीनरी है, वो उसको फ्री में यूज करती है, जिसके कारण वहां लॉसेस चल रहे हैं। लॉन्ग लोगों, हमने इसके ऊपर स्टडी किया था और हमने फाइंड आउट किया था, उस समय हरियाणा टूरिज्म कॉर्पोरेशन प्रॉफिट्स भी दिया करता था और वर्ल्ड टूरिज्म कॉर्पोरेशन को कंसल्टेंसी भी दिया करता था। लेकिन आज ये हालत है कि लॉस में चल रहा है। मैंने पिछले बजट पे कमेंट करते हुए लिखा था कि हरियाणा टूरिज्म कॉर्पोरेशन को भी बंद कर देना चाहिए।
जी सर।
Sir, good noon.
Good noon.
Sir, Dr. Rakesh, I am the student of history.
Very good.
Sir, this is a great platform to listen you, a good economist. So I have an query regarding notebandi by the government. Is it the part of economy, or is it successful or not? But just I'm a student of history. I just want to know.
देखिए दलाल साहब, ये तो हिस्ट्री बन गई है। इसके ऊपर तो जब भी चर्चा की जाएगी कि जो हमने ये डीमोनेटाइजेशन किया था वो भी गलत किया था उस समय, अगर देखा जाए ऑब्जेक्टिव था प्योरिफिकेशन ऑफ इकोनॉमी। हम ब्लैक मनी को खत्म करने की बात करते थे और हमने जो नई करेंसी छापी थी 2000 के नोट, उसके लिए सभी एटीएम की मशीनरी बदलनी पड़ी थी। तो मेरा ये मानना है कि डीमोनेटाइजेशन से इतना फायदा होना चाहिए था वो तो नहीं हुआ, उल्टा हमारा खर्चा बढ़ गया। हमने, अगर आप बैंकिंग को पूरे तरीके से समझते हो, एनपीए के बारे में जानते हो, नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स के बारे में जानते हो, और इवन जो 4 पैकेजेस गवर्नमेंट ने कोविड क्राइसिस से निकलने के लिए अनाउंस किए हैं, वो सारे के सारे लोन वाले हैं। आपने मेरी बात अगर पूरे तरीके से सुनी हो दो शब्दों का प्रयोग मैंने रिपीटेडली किया है। एक तो मैंने यूज किया है कॉब्रा इफेक्ट ऑफ डेट, और दूसरा मैंने यूज किया है चक्रव्यूह चैलेंजेस का। जहां तक आपकी डिमोनेटाइजेशन की बात थी, अभी तक हमने फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रेगुलेशन एक्ट में जो चेंजेस किए थे ना, फेमा फॉरेन एक्सचेंज मैनेजमेंट एक्ट, उसके आधार पर हमारा अभी कुछ चीजें पेंडिंग पड़ी हैं। अगर आपको पता हो, दलाल साहब सुन रहे हो ना मेरी बात?
जी सर, सुन रहा हूँ, डेफिनेटली सुन रहा हूँ, पूरा लेक्चर सुना है बेहतरीन तरीके से।
आज भी अगर आप नेपाल में पता करें तो नेपाल में आपके 500 रुपए के नोट पुराने वाले चल रहे हैं। नेपाल में किसी जानकार से फोन करके पूछ लीजिए कि
यस सर,
इंडिया ने बैन किए हैं ना 500 के नोट, नेपाल ने तो बैन नहीं किए। और कभी भी नेपाल भारत के लिए समस्या क्रिएट कर सकता है जब वो ये कहे कि मुझे आपके रुपए वापस करने हैं 500 रुपए के नोट। तो समस्या खत्म नहीं हुई, समस्या तो अभी उससे और बढ़ सकती है, क्योंकि हमने फेमा के अंडर जो प्रोविजन करने चाहिए थे वो अब तक नहीं किए हैं। इसका प्रूफ यही है कि ओल्ड करेंसी अभी भी नेपाल में चल रही है।
जी सर, जी सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nice.
Who is there to say vote of thanks or just final? Where is Shefali or Verma ji? They are not there.
सर थैंक्स तो हम सभी कर सकते हैं, आपके इतने अच्छे विचार हमने सुने।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू। हेलो, हाँ बोलिए।
सर थैंक्स फॉर
हेलो, हेलो, या
सर आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हैं सर?
हाँ सुन रहा हूँ, सुन रहा हूँ।
I think Dr. Pawan is not able to connect.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
This was up to 12 o'clock, I think.
Yes sir, 12 o'clock.
हाँ 12 बजे तक था ना। तो किसी की ड्यूटी लगाई होगी आज में आपने ना, जो प्रिजाइड कर रहा होगा या कुछ ऐसा किया हुआ नहीं?
यस सर।
किसकी?
हाँ जी सर।
उसको बोलिए।
सर मे भी पवन सर नहीं है अवेलेबल। मे भी पवन सर अवेलेबल नहीं है सर, सेम मे भी नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पर। तो हम सभी मैं बोल देता हूँ सर, उसके लिए आपका थैंक्स। आपका बहुत ही अच्छा, आपके बारे में सुनने को मिला, इतने अच्छे इकोनॉमिस्ट थे, हमें ये सुनने को मिला। और आपने जो पॉइंट रखे, सरकार के खिलाफ थे या किसी के खिलाफ थे या किसी के पक्ष में थे, आपने एक निष्पक्ष जो वोटिंग की वो हमारे यहाँ पर दी, और उसके लिए हम आपका बहुत बहुत आपके विचार सुन के और जो भी जितने भी आप हमने पॉइंट डाले वो सब सोल्व हुए हमारे यहाँ पर।
आप उसको बोल दीजिए। अभी तो जोगिंदर जी बोल रहे हैं, जोगिंदर अहलावत बोल रहे हैं।
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Sir, thank you so much for sharing your valuable time and sharing your thoughts and ideas with us in such a sir, it's a brainstorming session and इतनी सरलता से और इतने अच्छे से आपने सबके क्वेश्चंस के आंसर किए. We are very thankful to you. सर बीपीएस एमवी की तरफ से और ये एचआरडी की तरफ से हम सब लोग आपके आभारी हैं और आपका धन्यवाद करते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच सर.
Thank you.
सर शायद इसमें ये डॉक्टर अजय सिंह की ड्यूटी आज लगी हुई है. इफ ही इज अवेलेबल, डॉक्टर अजय सिंह, वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए, आज के सेशन के लिए डॉक्टर अजय सिंह की ड्यूटी लगी हुई है हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स में से ही.
मैम शायद कुछ नेटवर्क इशू है क्योंकि उनका चैट बॉक्स में मैसेज तो जरूर है लेकिन वो शायद आप सुन नहीं पा मतलब रिप्लाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं शायद.
अच्छा.
हेलो.
आज हम सबकी तरफ से हो गया थोड़ा थोड़ा. हाँ जी. हेलो.
हेलो.
यस पवन जी.
आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
आवाज आ रही है सर.
सर माफी चाहता हूँ मेरे जी नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है सर मेरे यहाँ स्टेडियम में. हेलो.
आ रही है सर आपकी आवाज.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद प्रोफेसर एम गोयल जी आपका फॉर दिस वंडरफुल डेलिब्रेशन. हेलो.
सर वो लीव कर चुके हैं.
हेलो.
सर
पवन जी वो चले गए हैं.
नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम की वजह से प्रॉब्लम आ रही है.
हाँ मेरी फोन पे तो सर को मैंने धन्यवाद कर दिया बट कुछ नेटवर्क इशू है जिसकी वजह से मैं मीटिंग से कनेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहा हूँ. हेलो.
ठीक है सर.
Here we will take a break for 10 to 15 minutes. Then we will start our another session.
Okay sir.
जी.
सर पवन सर बोल रहे हो?
जी जी.
सर मैं ये कहना चाह रही थी कि अगर एक रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट का एक सेशन रखवा दें आप कि हाउ टू राइट रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट तो शायद सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए यूजफुल रहेगा अपना कुछ लिखने से पहले.
यस सर वी आर आल्सो एक्टिव.
वो भी है ऑलरेडी हमने एलोकेट कर रखे हैं मैम जो टॉपिक है जो रिसोर्स पर्सन के.
हाँ जी हाँ जी. सर वो थोड़ा सा पहले
तो रिसर्च पे भी डेफिनेटली बात होगी.